Welcome to this festive Tuesday night where we have show and share every week. People bring their projects, something they're working on, something they've completed, something they have not completed and completely messed up. And we sign up on the sheet and you can hear about everyone else's projects. First on the list tonight we have Jamie Lynch, who has 3 projects. I saw it, there you are.
I'm going to try to make this short. What I've been doing lately is, well, I'm retired. And in retirement, a lot of times you get to take classes. And I'm always looking, I'm a curious kind of person, and I'm always looking for something new to do. I like to talk about 3 classes and the instructors. I guess I'm lost for words about the instructors, but they're real supportive. The first one, I'll get right to it. The first thing I'd like to talk to you about is I had a welding class here. I don't weld, but I thought it would be interesting to take it. And I took the welding class. And it was kind of touch and go, and the instructor, Joe, he was real supportive. And everybody in the class, I noticed that he would tell them, good job, good job. And, you know, he would push you forward. And when you don't know what you're doing, a little bit of encouragement really pushes you into doing it. So I took another one of his classes, and this isn't kind of funny. I took his cutting class, how to use a torch. There's no time in my life I need to cut anything with a torch. But we got to go out and cut some steel. I learned the biggest thing from Joe I learned was he said, be in the moment. Think about what you're doing, what you're wearing and stuff like that. Well, the day of the class, I had tennis shoes. I got the same shoes on right now. I always wear tennis shoes. But I'm probably known as the dancing cutting man. And what I mean by that is I cut the steel and my feet were jumping up and down because of the hot metal. It'll go right through a pair of tennis shoes. So you got to be dressed properly about what you're doing. And at the end of the class, Joe said, why don't you cut off a piece of steel? Put your name in it. I said, do what? And so I cut off a piece of steel, and I took the torch, and I cut my name into it. And I thought, okay, and this is what it looked like. Don't that look great? Can anybody here tell me what my name is? Okay. Well, what happened was...
What language is that?
Yeah, really. He told us the shop is ours. And he said they explain everything there is to do in the shop and the different tools you can use. And I thought, what am I going to do with this piece of steel, you know, hanging on the wall or something? So I thought about making a death weight. Well, I took it in there and I ground the steel down, and they have several machine sanders that you can polish steel. You can make knife blades, and it really come out good. Now, I'm going to show you this first, but here is the same piece of steel. And I'm going to pass it around. There are no sharp edges on this. It's just, it's better than that piece there. So, pass this around, take a look at it. But it was a real enjoyable class. I enjoy all his classes. Okay, the next class I'd like to talk about is Sean's class. Now, Sean taught bandsaw. I really don't have a need for running a bandsaw, but I thought, why not? he articulates his class pretty good. He tells all about it. So I took his class and I learned quite a bit, but I didn't have anything to bandsaw. And, but I had some questions. So I ordered his class. You can go back and take the class. You don't have to pay for it again. So I went back and I was waiting for him. I got a lot of questions for him to see if he really knows what he's doing. And he answered all my questions and told me more. We were standing around the bandsaw, and he said, Jamie, don't stand on that side of the bandsaw. Okay, so I moved over out of the bandsaw, and one of the blades broke. Now, it could have come out of the machine, but it didn't. But it was right where I was standing, and we were talking 2 minutes earlier. And so, I really paid attention, and he kind of saved me from maybe getting hurt. And we learned a lot in that class. So what I did, I tried to come up with a project, and this is what I come up with. I milled down some wood. This one has cedar, sugar maple, and walnut, and I got one with purple heart. But what I did, I milled down the wood and I glued it together and I cut out blocks like this. So what I did with the blocks is, I seen this video on YouTube, we all watch YouTube, and a guy from Woodcraft, I think he'd been in the business about 60 years, he said, you just take it through the bandsaw and cut it like this and cut it like this, and there you go. Well, it doesn't work like that. So what I'm talking about is, he was talking about making a bandsaw box, and this is a sliding bandsaw box. The top slides on, and makes a little box. I'm giving these out at Christmas. And these aren't perfect. It just, as Sean can tell you, there's a lot I got to learn about running a bandsaw and making curves. But it's not perfect. And I'll tell you one little story. The reason I made it is I'm giving these to my granddaughters. And sorry, a little nervous. Well, let me tell you about this other thing before I tell you about the box. When you're using a bandsaw, if you get close, let me tell you, I use a scroll saw, and you can get real close with your wood when you're making stuff. On a bandsaw, it will cut you and cut you bad. I worried about it so much that I memorized the address for here, and I got my phone. I hope it wouldn't be on the injured hand, where I could call 911 to get here to help me. So I come up with this one, instead of a push stick, I came up with what they call a nano hand. And thank you, nano hand. But it's got a little, it's actually got a little cut at the top. It hit the blade, and that wasn't my finger, so it was, this thing actually saved me. But I was thinking this is not perfect. And so I was going to give it, I got several granddaughters, but this one granddaughter I'm going to give it to. She's under a lot of pressure. Nowadays, excuse me, okay, I'll tell you, when I was a teenager, the only thing I had to worry about was not getting a whooping for a report card coming out. But the kids nowadays, she's got dance, she's got track, she has to keep her grades up to get a scholarship, and she's going through a lot of difficult times. got to excuse my voice. But I figure this is not perfect. And I was actually reading some articles about Confucius this morning, and he said, a diamond with rough flaws in it's better than a perfect pebble. And what he practiced was philosophy, working with the regular man, integrity, and how somebody could prosper and not be in the ruling class in China. And sometimes flaws are good, and that's, and I'm gonna tell my granddaughter, this is kind of like a diamond, and she can still be good and have flaws. And so that's it.
Thank you for sharing all of that. Although I do think we should nominate Jamie as like what not to do safeties are. Where not to stand.
It's already after my job, huh?
Yeah. Next up is Jesse, and he has some Moonraker laser projects.
Sorry, theater for
So the first one's kind of started out small. I was just looking for some jewelry boxes for my girlfriend's presents that I got for Christmas. And on the All Talk, let's see, somebody shared this site. I think it's a makerspace, hackers, is that a Python site? Boxes.py. And you can download you can make all kinds of different boxes and kinds of things. I'm really interested in trying the treasure chest next, I think. Where's that one? Yeah, the treasure chest there, I like that. But I went for the square two-piece right there. And that's these here. So I got the pattern, cut them out, and put them together. You don't even need the glue for it. I picked out her name, put a little hatch pattern on it, and engraved that in the machine. So my next project, I decided, hey, I can do that. I'll take it up a notch. I found one with a living hinge. And that's this for my sister. She owns a sewing manufacturing company, Shift Manufacturing. I guess it doesn't quite fit in there. But here's the box, and it's got some little pins in here that you can pull out. And they are in there good. In the box, it's all one piece, and you can see that hinge. You know, that wood is just from all those little lines getting cut out. So I figured she good place to keep all of her sewing, or some of her sewing stuff, definitely not all of it. And then I called her up and I asked her, you know, I was thinking about making a coin on the laser. I knew that was one of the projects you could do. So I called her up and I asked her, hey, you got a picture of your husband? You know, I'd like to make a coin for him. He made me this beautifully engraved brass belt before, and I wanted to be like, hey, yeah, I can do that too. But she sends me a picture of, not of a good profile picture of him. She sends me a picture of his business card. And I'm like, what am I going to do with that? Can't turn that into a coin. So I decided to take these lasers up a notch, and I turned his business card into a sign for him. And that's it. There's 3 different layers there. There's not, well, 4 or even 5 layers, but there's that.
Pick it up a little bit.
It's like,
There you go.
but if you can see, you know, the raised letters, the cutout letters. I didn't plan for the A. There's nothing for the A or the O to hang on to, so I had to build that up. But then even on the raised letters, there's a dial handle. There's a handle over there. There's extra grips for the lathe. So that was a real fun project. I think that he'll appreciate that for his machine shop, even though it's not metal. We'll have to deal with it.
Very nice. Next we have Thea, who has work bites. Treats? Do you have treats?
No, quite literally, work bit me. Is that as close as it goes? Yeah, we have these kind of storage racks in one of our buildings. So one of the knobs was twisted out. Get back. And it quite literally tore a hole in my pants. So I racked it up, sketched a little heart, and then stitched. And I'm actually, I'm too short, you can't see it, but I'm wearing those pants today. And this is a little plug. We are going to be scheduling a hand mending class in fiber arts for February 7th. So Sue should get it on the calendar in the next couple of weeks. So any little repairs you need, we can fix them.
All right.
Next up, we have Adam and Nada, who has pressing the lots or pressing the hots? Hots. Pressing the something.
Why'd you make it sound so weird?
Okay, so we got a few different things here. I've been playing with heat presses and sublimation and stuff like that lately. I started out with the idea of creating sublimation printed Magic the Gathering cards. So I don't know if how many nerds we have in the room, so I wanted to make metal cards. So I did some experimentation, and we've got some that have come out really well. And so I was here doing these a month or so ago before Show and Share, and everybody was like, "Oh, those are awesome!" And I ended up making a bunch for a guy that was here. But now I have upgraded, and I can now do dual-sided cards. So yeah, these have come out pretty good. But what that led into was me buying a sublimation printer and a heat press and spending an unreasonable amount of money. And as an opportunity to embarrass her a little bit, my wife graduated from nursing school 10 days ago. So, for her graduation, she was permitted to wear a stole, but they don't provide it. They're required to provide their own stole, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna completely embarrass you by putting this on you. This, step out where the camera can see you. That way. All right, let Billy guide you. Okay. So what we have here is a stole that has been both sublimation printed and has vinyl pressed into it. I can't remember what they're called, the patterns at the bottom are sublimation, the keffiyeh? The keffiyehs at the bottom are sublimation printed, all of the rest is heat press vinyl. Now, here is a pop quiz for you, and I don't even think she knows about this. There is a printing mistake on this. Can anybody spot it? Yes, she is perfect. But if you look at the C in class of 2025, that C tore off while I was pressing it on. So I actually had to repair that on the fly, and I think it came out pretty good, and I can't tell. So, as a second piece to this, they're also allowed to decorate the graduation caps, and I want to tell you a funny story about this. So this is the graduation cap design we came up with. This is based on a piece of Persian artwork. It actually says in Persian, in a very stylized Persian.
I can take it
Go
over.
for it.
The women's liberation movement in Iran has taken up the slogan Zan Zendegi Azadi, which means woman, life, freedom. And so those words are actually what this pattern is. So I guess it's disguised in a way so that people can use this design without possibly drawing the ire of the government there. It was actually made by an Iranian artist who lives in Los Angeles. So that's what this pattern is, but you can tell them the funny part.
So now, as for the funny part of this, so we go to LMU up in Harrogate, and we go to the graduation ceremony, and she's sitting down here with a couple hundred other graduating students in all their different professions. And she's sitting in the crowd with her fancy shiny hat on. And this fancy shiny hat just happened to be on her head in the exact right position and the exact right angle that it reflected the stadium lighting directly into the camera for their live stream of the graduation ceremony, and it washed out the video so badly they had to back the camera off. So, yeah, she got to leave her permanent mark on the recorded history of LMU graduation ceremonies. And that's it. I'll pass these cards around, but the stole and the hat are a little fragile, so.
But yeah, if you want to see the stole or the hat, you can see that after.
Well done, Nada. Next up, Bob Berry with Rocking Chair Build Part 4.
Hello. All right, I don't know how many of y'all have been here for parts 1, 2, and 3, but I'm trying to build this kind of rocking chair for my sister for her 50th wedding anniversary. So I started with, let's see. Started with a bunch of wood. I guess that's about right. Maybe we take this away. Started with a bunch of wood. My brother-in-law requested Osage orange, which is also called Bodark in the South. I'd never worked with that before. It's very heavy and dense and makes really dangerous splinters. But parts 1, 2, and 3, I was cutting those big long pieces up into smaller pieces and making parts, so I'm not going to repeat any of that. I think where we left off was I had carved the seat. So that's what the seat looks like when it's just about carved out. Next I had to cut out arms. To cut out arms, and y'all tell me if I'm running too long, because I may have more pictures than I should here. My instructions for building this chair consist of 66 steps. At the end of part 3, I think I had done about 23, and I've done 24 more since then, and I've still got about 20 left. So to carve the arms, you use a cove cut. So I use this jig to hold a piece of wood that I run across my table saw at an angle, and it makes this kind of cut. I'm not quite staying in the middle here. Makes this kind of angled, it's called a cove cut. And then when you draw the pattern of the arm on and cut the arm out on your bandsaw, which I use a lot, you get a piece of wood that looks like this, and that becomes the arm. Arm attaches to the back leg and the front leg, and I'm building up the back leg here. This design requires you to add a bunch of little pieces of wood together and then cut them all up and make smaller pieces. And this is a little extra padding right here that I'm putting on the side of the back leg to kind of flare it out, because if you're sitting in the chair, the arms kind of flare out, and you want the back leg to have a little bit of a flare to match that arm. So I do that. Let me see. I'm trying to remember why I took all these pictures now. A lot of gluing up. Now I'm working on the front legs. The front legs start out as just plain billets of wood. You have to cut this groove in there, and you want the groove to match on both sides, so I tape them together and cut them both at the same time. And then you fit the groove into the chair seat. So there's a cutout in the seat. You start off just kind of making it fit pretty tight. Then you round it over with the round over bit right where the joint fits. And if you do it really well, it fits in really nice like that. So that's how the front leg goes into the rocking chair seat. Somehow it's not showing up as good. And then you take the two front legs that you've done and you put a piece of wood in between and you glue them all together, because then you're going to cut that piece at an angle so that you get a 6-degree flare out of the legs. 6 degrees is a number you'll hear multiple times today. So there's a lot of gluing up and then cutting apart and then sanding down and routing and doing all this stuff. Here's a back leg that I've used this nifty little fixture. Well, what? There it is. Well, it's kind of hard. I use this fixture that's got a threaded rod in it to adjust the position of the leg relative to the table saw. And I use like 16 thread per inch rod, so if I give it just a quarter of a turn, I can move the thing I'm trying to cut 64th of an inch or something. And it helps me get real precise cuts because I want all my joints to fit real tight. And so this is I'm going to try to cut on these lines and make a slot that matches the slot in the chair leg. I'm not going to show you all these videos because it's just me going back and forth with the saw. But I can also use my little threaded rod device in this orientation here too. So so you end up with this kind of setup. This is the two back legs with their slot, and I think they've been routed. You see all this extra wood hanging on. So you have to put all this wood on, and then you cut it all off. And you end up with just a tiny bit that you actually want to use. And it's kind of a process, but let's see. Do a lot of things like, cut it 20 degrees left and right. Well, your bandsaw table only tilts one way, so I had to build a sub table to give me the 20 degrees the other way, and that's what I'm doing here. So now you can see the legs starting to take a little shape or just look funny, depending on your point of view. Same thing with the front legs. You start with this block of wood, you cut away a whole bunch of it, and you end up with something that looks kind of like that, and then you route that on the router to round over those things, and that's what I'm going for, something like that. You have to cut holes in the, oh, this is what I want to show you this piece here, because these kind of pieces in the middle that are lighter than the other piece, that's what you get left over. After you start with this big block of wood, you glue it, cut it, and really that's how much of it actually ends up in the real product, the final thing. Here's a Rocketeer seat. I'm just rounding over the back edge. I have to use this router on this extension because my wood is not flat. It's got all these curves in it, and I can't run it on a flat router table, so I have to build this really kind of dangerous router holder, which I clamp to my bandsaw. Another good use for a good bandsaw is, to give you table and work surface. So that's kind of what you do there, and that lets you get rear legs. Now you have to look at the rest of my shop, but so I'm going rear legs to the seat. Let's see, too many pictures of that. Front legs, got them. They turn out kind of round after you start. After you do all these steps, you end up with kind of a round leg. And then you got to glue more wood to them. So you have this funky jig that holds the wood that you're going to glue to these legs at just the right angle so that when you put it on the chair, it matches to the arms, which are going at this funny curve outside. And you got to drill stuff at like with one angle one way and another angle the other way. It's like a compound angle in your drill. And then I'm going to cut the headrest. Finally, I think I may have showed you the headrest in part 3. It's a blow up of a bunch of pieces, and now we want to smooth it out. So I'm running it through the bandsaw. This is kind of a circle cutting jig, these two holes in my jig are 1 1/4 inches apart, so I can run it by on the outer edge, smooth that off, and then move it exactly 1 1/4 inches in the jig without disrupting or changing any of my setup, and then make another pass, and I end up with a 1 1/4 inch thick radius piece of wood, and this is what's left in the jig. But then that piece that we added onto the legs, you have to cut all that off, and then this is the headrest after it's been, you can't really see much here, but headrest after it's been through the circle cutting jig, and then this is the chair. I've got the legs on, I'm just kind of clamping the arms on right now, and I'm sitting on the rockers just for fit up. And then I have to glue these extra stacks of wood onto the rockers because that's how you make the transition into the leg, and got to bandsaw that off. And then this is the headrest. I'm fitting the headrest. I was just doing this today, so this headrest ends up fitting into the back legs, and they're kind of spring-loaded. It's like you have to press them apart to be able to jam the headrest down in there, and then you have to take a 1/16 or a 32nd off both sides to keep it centered. Finally, it starts out like this initially. Finally, it gets pretty close, and there's screws going from the side to hold it together. So that's kind of the end of part 4. Part 5 to come. I was supposed to get this done by Christmas, and that didn't happen. But, well, it's still not going to happen. There's still about 30 hours or so of work left. So maybe by New Year's or sometime Valentine's Day, who knows. My sister doesn't care. She's like, whatever. Part 5.
I'm very impressed. It's looking like a chair. Last but not least, we have Rex, who did not tell me what she's showing. Stained glass. Nice.
Jeez, I gotta follow that. Good Lord. Wow, that's incredible, Bob Barry. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, so Isaac, did you dye your hair pink
Like, was your hair a different color last time I saw you and you changed it pink? Like hot pink? Oh, okay. I thought it was like a different shade for some reason. Okay. Anyway, so I took the stained glass class here, and this was my first time doing stained glass, and they offered like some pre-made like patterns that you can do. But I was like, I want to do something that I really liked, so I chose like a moth design. But I'm just gonna show it really quickly, but this was, yeah, so, it's actually, no, it goes this way. So yeah, that's basically it, and I made the part at the top that's the little antennas, but yeah, that's basically it, and normally, there's something that you use when you do stained glass, which is, it's this stuff called flux, and it's like a glue that you use before you put on the metal part. And if you forget to put it on, this is what it looks like. So I forgot to put it, it's basically a part that goes like right here where you're putting on the metal. And then I had to go back and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to put the flux on. And the flux makes it shiny and it makes it kind of stick on better. So the spot where I did put the flux on correctly is like this area right here. That's normal. This is with the flux. 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 This area is without the flux, without the flux, without the flux. So I thought I'd show you that. Thank you.
I'm so excited to take that class someday. I keep missing it, but I love everybody's projects. I like your moth. That concludes our show and share. We have no upcoming classes and we have no announcements, probably because it is the end of the year and no one can operate a calendar past the new year, including myself. So if we look in the next couple weeks, I'm sure January will be very populated. Oh, Thea has thought ahead. So good job, Thea. You have a class coming up in January. Tonight, after show and share, we are doing an Inkscape Q&A. I will be leading that, so if you are familiar with Inkscape, you can use it for the laser cutter, for the vinyl cutter, a few different tools in the shop. If you have questions about it, I invite you to embarrass me with questions I don't know the answer to, and I'll do like live demo, try and figure out and help y'all out. So we're going to take a brief intermission, 10 minutes, something like that, let people go out in the shop if they don't care about Inkscape, and then come back if you want to, if you have questions about Inkscape. Other than that, have fun, happy holidays, happy new year, have a good time.